Hi, I'm Karin.
And I'm Elise,
Welcome back to Poodle People,
where we talk about all things poodles.
Just a friendly reminder that we're not licensed veterinarians, professionals, or handlers. We're just poodle people.
Hi, Elise.
Hey, Karin, how's it going?
Great. How about you?
Just peachy keen.
Super.
As usual. I don't think there's another answer for me. It's like
There
the
isn't.
autopilot. It is the autopilot.
If you don't say that, I will, I'll be worried about you.
Yeah, you'll have to call Carl and be like, excuse me, she didn't say the two words that she says every time somebody asks.
Right. Check on her. So tonight we are going to talk about something that we think will align with our audience. If you listen to this podcast, you are probably interested in dogs, interested in poodles, and we wanted to share some of the resources that helped us get more aligned and feel like we were part of the dog community, and in some cases, specifically the poodle community. So when I first started, I really didn't do anything with Max Lieberman and Jane Austen except walk them,
Right.
and play with them. They were my pets. And I was not really thinking about sports or activities in a different way. We had a really active lifestyle, and hiking was really the main thing that we did.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah, yeah. But when I got the two girls, Grace and Elizabeth, I wanted to get CGCs for them, and I actually took an agility class with Grace. And I was really lucky that I got to take the class with Heather Blakeman. Anyone who is in the Lexington, Louisville region may know Heather Blakeman. She's a really talented handler and dog trainer who has left Lexington for Louisville now. And I benefited just in the 2 or 3 classes that I took with her tremendously. And agility was kind of my first attempt at dog training in a more formalized way.
Yeah.
And through Heather, I talked to Jody Garcini, who told me about the thing that was most formative for my development as a breeder, amateur owner, handler, all of those things. And it's kind of funny when I look back on it. I think that Heather might have told me about Leading Edge Dog Show in 2018. And when I looked at the site in 2018, there wasn't a monthly package. It was one relatively large sum of money. And I kind of chickened out. It was the early stages of it. And I was like, oh, I don't know that I have $750 for something. I don't really know exactly what it was, but it was over $500 for sure. And I was just like, that, like, I don't know anything about this. It just seemed like a big jump, right?
Yeah.
So a couple
Joke's
of years
on you, you're full send into the poodle world now, girl.
right. So I'm sure Leading Edge Dog Show Academy also had some growing pains, because when I came back to it next, which was either before COVID, and they had switched to a different model so that you could pay monthly.
That's nice.
Yeah, that totally worked for me. It's much easier to take a chance on something that you don't know anything about. I didn't really know how I would learn skills online, even though I teach online. So, my inability to see this is kind of funny. But I wasn't sure how I would translate, applied skills.
Yeah.
In that way. So Leading Edge Dog Show Academy and I went through some growing pains. They've been adding things like crazy. They've been developing, and they've really blossomed. And it has been so formative for me. And I've been a member for a while now, and I really feel like this was a really fortuitous community for me. I love learning from Allison Alexander. I think she's brilliant. Her breadth of knowledge is just absolutely amazing. And I think it's really important to encourage anyone who's listening to think about ways that they can develop their community a little bit more and become more plugged in, because it really is a lot of fun to have friends who have similar interests. Now, I know that I kept going, Elise, so you
It's okay.
tell us. Yeah, so I kind of got on a roll there.
You're
And
good.
I'm really in love with Leading Edge Dog Show Academy and Allison and everyone behind the scenes. But tell us like some of the tools you used when you were first starting.
Yeah. So I didn't know about Leading Edge Dog Show Academy until you told me about it. And I've never like bought into the Poodle University or the packages that she has, just because like the way that my lifestyle is set up, like I don't feel like I need all of that. But
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
really cool. And they do you did send me for Christmas one year, you sent me like a package of all these different little courses, and I
Yep.
loved that. And
Yep.
she's brilliant. We do love
She is.
Allison.
Yep.
Um, for
World
me, like,
authority.
yeah, for me, when I first started out, like, I know we've talked about it a little bit, like, on our grooming episode, but I really leaned hard on YouTube, and Karen and I used to live close enough together to where I was like, Karen, I need help. I don't know how to groom this puppy. And it was in 2020, like right after COVID shut everything down. Like, I think everything got shut down like the day before Winnie's first grooming appointment was supposed to happen. So
Oh, that's
I
right.
had to do something.
Totally
So
forgot that. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember. I was like, "Can
Yeah.
you help me? I need
Yep.
her face to be shaved. She's getting like her butt hairs are getting too long. Like we need to do something here." Um, so I leaned heavily on you, Karen, as somebody who has had poodles before and knew what they were doing, but also I used a lot of YouTube as far as like kind of cobbling together a knowledge of like grooming and things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's kind of all I've done for grooming, but, like, so Winnie and I also do some dog sports here and there. We like, just for fun, we're not overly competitive. She mainly does, Fast Cat, which for those who aren't familiar with that, it's basically a 100-yard dash for dogs, and they're chasing a lure in a straight line. The lure is on, like, a kind of a pulley system, and it has basically a white plastic grocery sack tied to it, and Winnie goes feral for that thing. She loves it. There's really not a ton of training involved. If you have a prey-driven dog, they might get it on the first go.
Honestly, I think if you have a dog.
Yeah, like any dog.
Yeah,
Looking back, like I had terriers growing up and they would have loved that. Um,
absolutely.
so Fast Cats run through like it's technically like an AKC type event, but it's not anything like when you go to like a conformation show. The crowd's different, the vibes are different. It's super fun. Usually they'll do like 2 runs in a day for the dogs. You're supposed to take a 30-minute break in between. I don't know how strict that is for some clubs. But to find those events, you can go to the AKC event search, and I believe it's under performance events, and you can search by like your city or your state, and you can find things that are coming up. Some depending on like how proactive the clubs are, you could see stuff like several months in advance to give you some time to plan. I feel like for us, like the entry fees are like 20 to 25 bucks, which I know sounds like a lot to have your dog run in a straight line for a ribbon that she doesn't care about, but I love it and it's super fun to like she has a great time. We also ordered pictures from like the photographer the first time she did it, and the faces they make are priceless. It's worth whatever those packages cost. But so we do that quite a bit, and to find events for us too, there's a pretty good Facebook group. I forget what it's called, but it's been a nice resource for me just to see like what's going on around, Arizona. I live in Arizona, so like what's going on around Arizona? Like, is there stuff, excuse me, happening in California? Is there stuff happening in New Mexico? Stuff like that. And if you're listening and maybe you've got a purebred dog or a mix, like you can register your mix with the AKC. as a quote unquote all American dog, and you can do this event. Or if you have, say you have a purebred, but you don't have, it's not AKC registered. AKC also has a purebred alternative listing that you can sign up with, and that'll let you enter into events like Fast Cat or agility. I think agility. I don't want to speak for all the agility people. Please don't come for me. I've never competed in it. I've just taken classes. I think you can enter into those events as well. You just can't do like confirmation, because that's for the folks that have like the litter registrations with full registration as well. But yeah, I did a lot of Googling.
Yeah, so when I started, I also used YouTube, although I watched Blake Hernandez.
Yes.
So, if you can't quite afford Allison Alexander, you can always watch Blake Hernandez. He's fun. He has great content. I learned a lot about scissoring just by watching his videos.
Me too.
I'm sure there are, go ahead.
I was gonna say, he has really approachable content. Like,
he does.
When I watch him, I feel very at ease and comfortable. I think I came across him originally on TikTok, and I found his little clips. I was like, what a breath of fresh air. I love watching him.
There's also, I wish I could think of the woman's name, but she has videos on how she brushes her dog's teeth. And it is so detailed, and I love her videos. She is like so methodical about teaching you how to brush your dog's teeth, which sounds like it wouldn't really be that long of a video, but it actually, if you do it properly and follow all of the steps and everything, it was a fantastic video. So you can find all kinds of things on YouTube.
If you find that one again, you should link it in the show notes, because I would also be interested in the teeth thing. When he used to have great pearly whites, and then I don't know what happened between ages 2 and 3, but her teeth she could use some help.
I will say, I do think that the toothbrush that I use is part of my success, because all of my dogs are used to having their teeth brushed and actually like it.
Yeah, Winnie loves it. I feel like it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, they also aren't like little kids where you can be like, go brush your teeth. You have to do it for them every time. And sometimes that gets missed by mom.
Yep.
User error. But
so
yeah.
Another resource you can use is InfoDog. I tend to use InfoDog more than the AKC event search. But both of them will allow you to search different parameters, and get an idea of what competitions are coming up. And I also think that there are more and more opportunities to compete your dog and get involved in local facilities. Like, we have Bluegrass Dog Training and Rose Tree, and you can do all kinds of classes. I have been meaning to get my dogs to barn hunt.
Oh yeah, me too. We only have one place out here. It's just kind of far, so we've yet to get into that.
So Bluegrass Dog Training has barn hunt every week, and then there are other places that have, like a periodic barn hunt, so that you can title. So there are a lot of opportunities that are coming to accommodate people's interest in being active with their dogs. And I think that that's something that we see that is, it's a much more approachable way to do fun things with your dog than confirmation, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Confirmation is a challenging sport, and, it's kind of like dressage, because it's hard and the reward is further along. It's just one of those things where, we want instant gratification typically.
Yeah.
So I can see why people choose easier, fun sports, because they want to have fun today.
Yeah. Well, I know what I have. I don't have a grand champion confirmation dog at that. I know what I've got here. But I think I have noticed that the AKC has, I know we talk about AKC and stuff a lot, but it is like the biggest registry in our country.
Yes.
I think they have been adding a lot more like achievement type things for people to do with their dogs. And some of it I feel like is like they have like a home manners thing where you can that they came up with during COVID. And I think the original purpose behind it was probably to get people just involved with um you know teaching your dogs like don't bark at the doorbell and like just manners and ways to get involved with your dog because so many people got dogs during COVID. And also too like you pay a fee to like have somebody evaluate those videos, and then you pay a
Yeah.
fee to the AKC to recognize it. So I'm sure that was also a marketing thing, but there are more things like that, and I think they've made it pretty accessible. Winnie has 2 trick titles, and I haven't been to a trick class. I'm sure it would have been faster to go to a trick class. But like they have like they have a list of the tricks. Like for her intermediate title, they have a list of tricks you could pick from. You can see like okay, you have to have 6 of these if they already have their canine good citizen. Great, Winnie has that. What's next? And then from there, I was like, okay, so I want her to say her prayers. So like I hold up my arm and she puts her little paws up there and ducks her head under my arm. That's kind of hard to explain over just audio. Sorry, everybody. That's one that came to my head. But be able to like be like, okay, so I wanted her to learn this, and then I'll take it and I'll go and look at find like a video or something on like that exact trick, or even finding like an evaluator for that. I was able to find a great evaluator in Colorado on their website just to make it I just think it's nice that they do have avenues to make stuff like that happen. And I think it's good and encouraging to get people involved with their dogs.
Yeah, I also I think that Instagram is a really great way to get connected to the dog community because I follow so many poodle accounts that are not in the US, and it's really interesting to see the different sports they do.
Yes, me too. I agree. It is so cool.
Yeah. So Elise, you probably remember that I've been obsessed with Swedish poodles.
Oh, yeah. Who isn't? Their dogs are beautiful.
The dogs are just gorgeous. I mean, they're such magnificent athletes, and they do, they seem very different in their approach to training and agility and very outdoorsy sports like ski joring.
Oh, yeah. I could never.
Yeah, I saw someone, it wasn't Swedish poodles, but someone else who was running their dog on a bicycle, and I was like, don't you fall off if they, jerk you or stop? Like maybe I'm missing like some athletic
Listen,
skill.
Karen, I tried that one time as a kid. We had this Australian Shepherd mix, and I was on my bike, and I thought, I told my mom the story like a month or 2 ago for the first time in my life. And I thought, oh my gosh, Molly, the dog, and I should go on this bike ride. Well, Molly, the dog, got very excited and took off, and like 10-year-old me was not prepared for this. It also wasn't set up like in any professional way. That dog... my bike got yanked over so hard, and I felt so dumb. I was like, I can't tell my mom that I tried to hook the dog up to this bike. And I told her this a few months ago, and she goes, "You did that?" I'm like, "Yeah," but everybody's fine. The dog was fine. I was fine. The bike was fine. Nobody got hurt. But yeah, but you're right. Like and looking back, like I was like, wow, this is a real sport. And if I had been a little older, I may have had the brain power to actually look up how to do it correctly, instead of just holding onto the leash with one hand and going for it.
I actually follow someone in the US who just competed her service dog in an outdoorsy sport that was kind of like, I want to call it not quite biathlon, or it was like a very outdoorsy kind of activity. And I thought that was really cool and something that I haven't seen around here. So
That's cool.
it does seem like sports are kind of different types of sports are growing, which I think is fabulous.
I agree.
The more opportunities we have to get out and do fun things with our dogs, the more rewarding that relationship can be.
Well, and along the same vein of Instagram, I know Meta owns all of social media at this point, except for X, but Facebook for me, I'm not a big Facebooker. Like socially. Like I don't ever really post. I might creep on people I know from high school and see what they're up to, but like I mainly use it to keep up with with the dog stuff. A lot of the clubs out here, like their main channel of communication is through Facebook. Like they'll make a post for the fast cat stuff. Let me get back on that horse for a second. Like they'll post like the run blocks on Facebook. Like that's how you find them. You don't find them on their website necessarily. You'll find them on Facebook. So, for those listening, if you are looking like, oh, like I wonder if there's like a club, like Google the club and then see if they have a Facebook page, because I guarantee you, like depending on like how active they are, they might be pretty active on Facebook and on like their social pages, and like that's how they're keeping up with their community and their members. Just food for thought.
Yeah, lots of different ways. I'm sure, Elise, that you see a lot of different people on TikTok than I do, since I'm not on TikTok.
Well,
really
yes, that would
Yeah.
be anyone more than you would see on TikTok.
Exactly. Except for the ones that you send me.
I do send you. Yes, I'm like, one day Karen's gonna get on here and I could just send it to them like I do all of my other friends. If that doesn't, like, I feel like if that doesn't show our like little generation gap, I don't know what does.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
our uses, and I'm like a medium-ish millennial too. Like I'm not like super young necessarily. Just not trying to like defend myself, but I feel like people are like, oh my gosh, what a Gen Zer. I'm not. Before anyone says anything.
Yeah, no, I think that I'm the oddball here. I'd like to have as little as possible, and it hasn't worked that way. But TikTok, I've managed to resist, even though I get that it's cool and there are cool things.
There are cool things, but you will spend all of your time on it. Speaking from experience,
Yeah.
just stick to Instagram. I love the things you send me. It's good enough for me.
Yeah. So all kinds of ways to get involved, and all kinds of, budget, different levels of budget and time and interest, because we know, just like Elise and I have busy lives, and, we have different times during the year when we can devote more time to things. You'll have these kinds of periods where you can invest in, learning or doing things, and it will be kind of a cycle, and it may change. But we just wanted to, talk about some of our favorite ways. If anyone is listening who's interested in Leading Edge Dog Show Academy, but they're not interested in learning how to handle or any of those types of things. So if you just want to learn about grooming, Allison has a new partnership with Chris Christensen, and she is offering grooming only subscription.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, so it really is quite new. So I think it's called the Leading Edge Dog Grooming Academy. I could be wrong, but so if you're not interested in those things, if breeding, conformation, all of those things don't really help you, and you just want to learn to groom, that's your place to go. Especially if you're a pet parent and you are going to be showing in Fast Cat and doing dock diving. You just need to learn the basics of grooming.
Yeah. Maybe you're trying to save a little money, or if you're like me and a nerd, you just want to learn the new skill. Because that was the other half of getting the poodle is, we could learn how to groom dogs with like these fun haircuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just wanted to kind of come on, like make this episode about just other ways you can get involved and make not necessarily just poodles, but like just having a dog and being active in the local dog communities a little bit more accessible, and kind of how we found things and where we started with stuff. Because neither Karin nor myself grew up in grew up with dogs, but we didn't grow up in a dog household where like our lives revolved around dogs, dog sports, showing, and all that stuff. So
yeah,
we thought it'd be helpful for everybody else.
And I do think that you should join your local club if you can, if you have one. The dues are usually quite modest, and there's usually a monthly meeting where you can spend time with people who are interested in dogs, and you can find dog clubs that suit all kinds of different interests. I'm a member of the Lexington Kennel Club, but I know that there's a gun dog club. You know, there are things that are not just conformation AKC sport type
Yeah.
of clubs. So, you know, just join a community so that you have that support and that shared interest, to help you and your dog go further.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not personally involved in our clubs. I think our poodle club is pretty light out here. I'm not sure if somebody out there listening from the Arizona Poodle Club or Scottsdale Poodle Club and wants to get in touch with me and tell me what it's like, holler. You can reach us at poodlepeoplepodcast@gmail.com. But I agree. As when I was younger, I made a lot of friends in organizations like 4-H and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
even just stuff like that, like it helps. And you make
Yeah.
friends with people that are like you, like me and Karen.
Yep.
Our common interest was dogs, and here we are.
Yeah.
We've made a podcast now. But yeah, I agree with that. I think the clubs are a great way to go.
Yeah.
I totally agree. But yeah. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys found it helpful. And if you have any questions, reach out to us. Our inbox is always open.
And if you have a favorite way of learning, share it with us.
Yes,
We'd love to hear.
We also love learning. If you have a favorite way of learning, we want to hear about it.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I hope
Thanks
everyone
so
has.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
If you'd like to get in touch with either me or Elise, or if you have questions you'd like answered during the podcast, email poodlepeoplepodcast@gmail.com. And if you have questions or want to be put on my wait list for puppies, please visit my website at scotchcornerstandardpoodles.com. Thanks for listening, and remember, a poodle will change your life.